Welcome to the Aaron Werner podcast on iCode Media. Super excited today because I have my good close friend, Rachel, with me in person,
yes,
in the house, talking about really energy in our spaces, which I think is super important all the time, maybe even a little bit more important right now in the environment, because the news and Instagram and everything that we're seeing isn't always positive, but it's up to us to bring that positivity, and Rachel is an expert in that. So hope you enjoy the conversation. As always, like, subscribe, share with a friend, and let us know what you think.
Thank you.
The Myopia Collective. Cooper Vision and the AOA have partnered in a groundbreaking initiative to change the way optometrists in the U.S. treat children with myopia. The purpose of the Myopia Collective is to rally the profession of optometry and its allies to interrupt the status quo and elevate the new standard of care for children with myopia. Every individual is encouraged to become a member of the collective. By joining, you commit to taking action to help slow the progression of myopia in children. You'll receive updates and information about the collective and its work in the fight against myopia, gain access to educational opportunities and resources offered by the collective, and hear from change agents, the ambassador optometrists selected to serve as advocates for community and policy change that facilitates the mission of the collective. Scan the QR code or click on the link in the show notes to join the collective today. In the past, our focus revolved around prescribing MacuHealth or MacuHealth Plus to patients at risk of macular degeneration, while also recommending it to collegiate and professional athletes for enhanced contrast sensitivity in sports performance. However, this year's introduction of the Life Meter has been a game changer. The Life Meter revealed a concerning truth. Many of my patients have alarmingly low skin carotenoid levels, indicating potential deficiencies in essential body tissues like the retina and brain. Supported by over 30 peer-reviewed publications, Life Meter's accuracy, consistency, and effectiveness has been demonstrated across 2,000 subjects with diverse backgrounds. With this newfound insight, I can now have meaningful conversations about carotenoid levels with all of my patients, even those who may seem outwardly healthy. To learn more about this empowering technology, feel free to contact your MacuHealth representative or click on the link in the show notes. Together, let's optimize patient care and elevate their well-being. So what I want to chat about and understand more of is, I don't even know the right word. It's the essence of a business, the aura, the energy, right?
I like the essence.
The essence, and because that's not me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So for those who don't know us, we met, how long ago was it?
2015, 10 years ago.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, January 2015.
Wow, that's crazy. And we were neighbors, and lots of interesting stories from...
and our kids are the same age.
So that neighborhood, our kids are the same age. Went through COVID together.
Yes.
We went through a couple different phases, right? Fixing up little e-bikes and having little e-bike patrols when the kids racing around the neighborhoods.
Yes. And some renovations.
Lots of renovations. 2 houses.
Yeah.
And an office.
Yeah.
So my office. And so for work full-time, that's what you do, right?
So I'm a holistic interior designer. So when I say holistic, I'm not just talking about the sustainability piece of interior design or even the health of interior design with chemicals and off-gassing, but I also support my clients on a spiritual level, on an emotional level, just holding space for them all together as a full human. So a lot of my clients, I'm very emotionally connected to them. I'm a Reiki Master, so I'll actually hold space and do treatments on my clients, especially when we're doing home renovations or even in their business, because your home is so connected to who you are as a person that when you're exposing your home and you're ripping out drywall and plumbing's coming out, you're also transforming yourself. So as we're healing the home and reinventing the home and transforming the home, I'm also doing that with my clients. I'll see it where they're going through this whole thing. Stuff is coming up from their childhood. Stuff is coming up in their personal lives. And I'm like doing Reiki, I'm releasing, I'm healing, like weird stuff happens. And so I'm also certified in classical Feng Shui. So I'm constantly looking at the flow of the space. How is everything moving? What is the subconscious receiving as far as the art that we place in the home, the colors that we're using, what are they being drawn to? There's just a whole nother dynamic happening.
That's cool. Now I'm really nervous for this because you've worked with us on, like I said, on 2 homes and an office, and I didn't realize that you were fixing me in the process as well. So I'm curious what's going to come out there.
Yeah. No, it's great. I mean, we did your office. I mean, it just transforms. Like you're like, I remember this house when you guys first got it. It was just craziness, and there was like all these compartmentalized pieces and like spaces that felt like a cave, and then just being able to shift it and to clear it, and to now have an office that you've got light and you're like thriving in. It's like, it's really cool.
That is cool. Yeah, there was lots of like, not dead space, but like where energy would just stop.
Yeah.
When you walked in, and you'd have to turn around and walk back out. You didn't flow. There was no flow.
And like in the kitchen, and just having that cabinet where you couldn't even see each other. You like open the door and you're like, hi. It was like,
we had some weird designs in the house. Very cool. So so for those who don't know what Reiki is.
So Reiki is a light touch energy healing modality. So the Reiki that I practice comes from Japan, and it's basically, I'm attuned to an energy where I become sort of a channel, like as if I were like a water hose, and you turn the water on and the water goes through me and it waters the grass. So I'm a conduit to where this energy from, wherever you want to take it from, the universe or whatever you believe, but basically coming through me and just me being guided to put my hand. Some people will just float over you or touch you. And it's just this energy of healing that kind of goes through, and people will feel like warmth or tingling. I remember when we were at your first home, Lindsay had those back issues. I'd come over with my table and get in there, and people just feel like, when you feel the energy, it's just like when you walk into a room and you know something just happened, like somebody just got into an accident, and you're like, or not an accident, but an argument. And you're like, I don't really want to step in here. It's like you automatically feel that. Or like even when you're a little kid and you scrape your knee and your mom kisses it or she holds it, or it's just that energy of like that transfer and knowing that you're taken care of. So you kind of feel that. There's more that goes into it. Also, if I'm like helping somebody, like an ancestor might come in or a guide, or to kind of help hold space for you in that space. Not all my clients require that or want it, but when they know that I do it, it becomes like this more connected piece, and they're like, oh, I knew it. Like I knew I needed to work with you. I just didn't know why. But I also do that in the space. So I'll do that in the office. I did it at your office. I'll do it in homes where I'm clearing out old energies or old things that have happened. I work a lot with like real estate agents. So when a home can't sell, or when the current owner won't release that house energetically, they're tied to it, they don't know why, it's a family, something's blocking it, I can come in and help release that so that they can step back, and then call in who's going to come in, who's going to love the home, who's going to nurture it. A lot of times people too will like move into a home and feel like they can't move in, like they don't know why. I can't move any furniture in, I can't step into the house, like this is our dream house. I just don't know, why can't I come in? And it's like, well, the home doesn't know who you are. So then I give them practices like introduce yourself, connect with the home, let it know that you're here, that you're going to be its forever owner, and that you want to take care of it. And it's not just like in transition of like, I don't know what's happening. Like, the home was with somebody for such a long time. Then it got ripped up and put together, and there's a million people coming in. The house is like, what the hell is happening? Like, you know what I mean? So it might just repel this energy of like, do not touch me anymore. Like, I've been neglected, I've been ripped up, and then just, so it's all of that.
That's interesting. It's, I guess I never thought of just inanimate objects, of having energy and having feelings, and not that you're personifying them, but right,
it's connecting with it. I always feel like spaces have a spirit or a guide, or the energy of the home, right? So it's like different homes will have different energy, and you feel it too. When you walk into your home, like this is a party house, like like we're gonna have fun here. Kind of when you had this house, it was like we got the pool, we got this, we've got that room, we've got the playroom. It was like we're gonna entertain here, we're gonna have our family here. You just knew that that's what it was gonna hold, and that was the intention that you had when you moved into the home. So then you felt this alignment.
That makes a lot of sense. And thinking about it, I can certainly think just different businesses you walk into, and some places you feel welcome at, and some you don't.
Totally.
Right. I was at the mall just picking up something from the Lego store, and buying time walking into stores, and I didn't have the words for it.
Yeah.
I do now, but it was
it.
interesting. You walk in, and in some places you were welcome; they wanted you there, and others it
You're
felt like I was invading their space, and I immediately want to
get out.
And I couldn't. There wasn't a rhyme or reason because the people are always, for the most part, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
No, you're definitely feeling it, and especially like with the staff, like, they feel it too, and they're projecting that energy out there. Even if the business is hurting and they want the business, they want people to come in, but if the owner of that business is like on them and is like constantly like in this mood, like that just goes throughout the space, and you don't want to be around it.
Yeah. So how do we address that? Because it's right now, we're not going to get political, but it's certainly an interesting time.
For sure.
And quite frankly, in my world, we're looking at what impact or tariffs are going to have on materials. And, your world, the building space is the same thing. The inflation, recession worries, and so everybody's kind of a little bit more hesitant on spending money, which just brings fears.
For sure.
And so in a time like this, how do you maintain that positive energy in the business?
Yeah, I think starting from the top, like as a business owner, just reconnecting with who you are, what are your values, what do you want to bring to your clients, to your customers, how do you want them to feel, and kind of put your own fears and worries in one spot. If you can try to compartmentalize it or deal with it, versus like spewing it out into your space or into the office, and also just holding that space for your staff and letting them know where you are, and just being really upfront and airing out like all their feelings too, and just feeling them and hearing them and letting them know that you care. And then in your messaging, like with your clients, like letting them know that you are here for them, you're looking out for them, the space that you have will hold them, that you're a small business and you're doing all the things that you can do to, help on your end, help on their end. It's just kind of like being really clear and open, and just having this open communication and letting the air breathe versus like stuffing everything or keeping it really dense, because people can feel that when they come into the space. So like your spaces are going to be even more important, because they're going to want to feel held and want to feel taken care of, and not just a number, or that you're looking out for, how are you going to make money? It's like, how are you going to take care of me, and am I going to feel good in that space?
Interesting. Let's go back to I love that. Let's go back, because I need actionable steps. Right?
Yeah.
So as a business owner, you said really putting down, kind of getting back to your roots and your why. When you work with folks, do you have them write it down? Do you have it?
Yeah. So especially with like my hospitality clients, when we start at the very beginning, if I can get in before they even have a business sort of plan or lay down their values, we start with like, okay, what are your values? What are the top 3 to 5? What is your brand voice? What is your story? What is your mission? What is your vision? So that we're making sure that all the parts and pieces are in alignment, whether it's, the look of the space, the feel of the space, the materiality that we're choosing, to make sure that all that lines up. So it's really getting back to that space and finding out who you are as a business and what your why is.
I like it, what your why is. And then the negative stuff, do you have them write that down too?
Yeah,
and
so
separately?
You could even have them, like if we're doing a practice, we can have them. I had a client where, again, she couldn't move into the home, and we had to figure out what the blockages were. So just writing down, what are the fears, what are the things, and kind of going down that path. Well, if the worst thing were to happen, what is that? Yeah. What does that really look like? And then when they look at it, they're like, oh, it's not actually that bad. But we think of these things and they just kind of loom over us. So it's clear, and also just clearing out that energy of that. Like in your physical space, if you're feeling like it's dense or things are really heavy, like starting the day, opening up all the windows. I like a sweeping ritual. So you can basically sweep the front door, the sidewalk, and as you're sweeping, just envision like just sweeping out the old stuff, all that negative energy. Same thing like when you take a shower. I love just envisioning all that crap just coming off of you and going into the drain. Or when you come home at night, taking a shower, relieving yourself from the day with all that stuck energy. And in the space, again, opening the windows, playing music has a really high vibration. So kind of clearing all of that out and setting intention in the space, just like being in a space of gratitude and coming into the office and just being so thankful for, you know, all the things that we have and all of our relationships and our reps and the people that come in. And because that energy just, you know, it vibrates out.
Ah, very cool. So so knowing your training and your background, and when you walk into a space, good or bad, what are the things that you initially like pick up on? Are there visual cues? Or is it an organizational setup? Is it just an emotion?
Yeah, there's several things. So I'll feel like what we had spoken about before, like, do I feel good in this space? Or do I feel like I'm intruding? Do I feel welcomed in here? So I'll get that immediate reaction. I try not to judge it right away because there's other things that are happening that I'm not aware of. So I'm like, I might come in and be like, okay, this is a little chaotic. There's a little, clutter, or there's things happening here that I can see, or there's miscommunication between management and staff. And so I'm kind of just assessing those things when I come in and just being really observant, but trying not to have a judgment eye on it, just noticing.
Yep.
So that when I do actually get deeper with somebody, I can understand, oh, that's why this is in that space, or that's why this is happening. So then I can help in a soft way, be like, okay, why don't we do this or do that, or what the reflection is.
Kind of guide a little bit differently. Nice. Do you, I like that, not judging. That's tough to do.
It's really hard because we already have these pre-notions of like, oh my God, look at that. It's like all these words that are going, but then it's like, it's just like stop, because there's something there. Like there's a reason why there's that block. There's a reason why there's just crap behind the door that they, for whatever reason, feel like they don't need to move it. But it's like it's in the like restaurant, like dining room. Like we gotta, you know what I mean? Or like, it's just like but you become blind to it.
Yeah.
People don't see that kind of stuff at all. Even in our own homes, we don't see that the baseboards have like all this gunk, or there's cat hair or whatever it is, or there's cat litter on the floor. You just get used to it. Yeah. So or like your bed's not made. It's like, yeah, that's normal,
Nice. Are you a bed maker?
I make a bed every morning because it makes me feel like I accomplished something. If I do anything, I'm like, I made my bed, and then it feels good. I like how it's like, it's made, it's done. I feel like, okay, that's one organized thing, but there might be other places in my bedroom where there's like dirty laundry, or there's like weird stuff on the bookshelf, but I'm like, okay, the bed's good.
At least I got the bed done. That's nice.
Yeah.
We're not going to go to my bedroom.
It's
That
okay.
is not made. So there's this notion, I'm thinking as an employer in business space, where when you come to work, you leave everything at the door and then you're at work.
Yes.
And I think it's incredibly impossible to do. And
because you're a person.
Because you're a person, and it adds anxiety, because you shouldn't have whatever's happening outside of life, outside of work, affect your work, but it does.
Yeah.
How do you help coach through that? Because you have to be with what you are, or you can't just leave the monkey at the door.
Yes.
Right? The monkey's still going to be on your back.
So I just started this practice, and you might know this book, but it's called The Artist's Way. And it's by Julia Cameron, and it's like 35 years old. She's done many renditions. But one of the pieces it's like reconnecting to your creative self. It's like recovery of your artist from within. So one of her practices, which I've been doing 2.5 weeks now, it's called Morning Pages.
Okay.
And basically you just write 3 full pages, stream of conscious. You don't think about, you just write. And you just write all the petty shit and the crap and like the stuff that you're annoyed and pissed off at. And then you just keep going for 3 pages. It takes about 20 minutes or so. I thought when I was going to start that I was just going to be like 3 pages of just like all my crap and all the things that I'm just so pissed off about. But it's like a quarter of the page. I get it out, and then it's like, and then all of a sudden I just start getting all these ideas. Oh, I need to do this. I want to do that. And like this creative piece comes out. So for me, that's been really huge, because usually I carry all that stuff and I feel it in my neck and I feel it on my shoulders. And even just throughout my body, when I was coming to you guys for my eye situation and the whole dry eye thing, and then the headaches and all this other bullshit. And so it's in your body that you feel all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, I physically worked on myself. I'm still physically working on my body, but now I'm using this other piece for all this mental stuff. And by doing those pages, it's helped me focus on my actual work, because when I work, I get so distracted. I'm like listening to podcasts. I'm listening to like true crime. I've got Instagram going on, and I'm trying to like fucking design. Like, this isn't going to work. But by doing these pages, it's actually helped me focus in and like get really detail oriented, which I don't usually do. And I've been really productive. So if there's a way to like release it, it's almost like exfoliating for the day. Releasing all that crap that you've like had on you so that you can like get down to business. It's like taking all that stuff and just throwing it away so that you're not carrying it. Because otherwise I would just think about it and ruminate and like, throughout this whole thing. And that's the thing that I've been doing lately. That's been changing.
I like it. So do you keep this as like a journal, or do you take the pages and shred them when you're done?
What she says to do is to write 3 full pages, and then you can burn the pages, you can shred them, throw them away. No one's supposed to read them. You're not supposed to read them. I do keep them in a journal, but if there are days where I'm like, I'm just gonna like get crazy on it, then I will write it out and burn it so that I don't have it. But yeah, it's just to release. It's just to like exfoliate and get rid of.
I like that. I've heard the idea of journaling a lot, but I'm like, it's kind of scary what I'm worried about putting. I'm going to put on paper.
Yeah, like, for sure. So just shred it afterward, or rip it up, or like flush. Don't flush it down the toilet. You shouldn't do that. But get rid of it.
And don't burn it in San Diego. We don't need more forest fires. But I can shred it. I can rip it up.
It. I would practice that, or just try it and see what happens. But if you can't do that, then at the beginning of the day you can kind of just set an intention of like, here's where I'm at. And then maybe even giving yourself like a break throughout the day and just being, okay, 10 o'clock, I'm going to take a break, and then I'm going to deal with all this crap and sulk in it or whatever. And then give yourself a time limit and then get back.
I think it's important to give I don't like the term pity party, but I think it's important to
you have to feel it.
Yeah, to be in the feels.
Yeah.
And then be done with it. I like the sweeping thing too. The metaphor of just, you're cleaning. There's always something to be swept, but it's
it's great. Like at the beginning of the day, I remember when I was working at a showroom in Little Italy, and we did a cleaning in the morning, but it was like this sweeping. It's almost like a meditation. You probably have seen like little old men like out there sweeping. And it's good. It feels good.
Nice, and it builds routine. And I think routine's helpful because you don't have that stress of what am I going to do next? What am I going to do next? Interesting. So getting back to the energy of a room, do you find that lots of places need like physical movement changes, or is it more of an attitude change?
Physical is huge. Okay. I know that whenever I'm feeling stuck or stagnant, I have to start fidgeting and moving stuff around. Even if you just like you have a bookcase there, even if you just rearranged that, it's going to shift the energy. Or you move a plant from one place to another place, or you tilt the chair a little bit. That's going to shift the energy of the space. Just little tiny things like that will definitely do it.
So it's not knocking down walls necessarily.
No.
It's
you
just
don't have to do all that.
Small little.
Yeah, changing the sheets on your bed, like huge.
Yeah, new sheets are new clean sheets are the best.
Yeah, it feels fantastic. Yeah.
So, okay. So is it because it's different? Is it because it's just no longer stagnant, kind of like stagnant water just kind of has the yucky feel? If it's the movement of it?
That's a great metaphor. I love the idea of water. So same thing in your home. I always think of energy as water, like in a river. So so you want the river to flow. You don't want it to sit and ponder and like create algae and muck. So that's stuck energy. So you want that to shift, but you also don't want like white water rapids, like chaos coming through your house. So it's just that feel of that. And when you shift objects, it changes the way that energy is going to flow. It's your body's going to feel it. Like there's so much that just goes on subconsciously that it just shifts. Yeah.
Well, certainly sound vibrations are bouncing off of things differently.
Even just putting on music is huge. Like you don't want to touch your house, you don't want to like move stuff around, just put on high vibe music, and it could just be music that you feel good in. It doesn't matter, what someone else thinks is negative or whatever. It's how you feel.
So Metallica's okay to put on. That's
yes.
good.
If that gets you inspired and it makes you like motivated and you're happy in that space, for sure.
Yeah, I grew up on Metallica and 90s country.
Yeah,
so
turn it on. It's like it just makes you feel good.
Yeah, very cool. So in a business sense, because it is the same thing, like you move, small little adjustments and
like even just switching up like your display, like putting Tom Ford from there to swapping it with Gucci or whatever it is, it's like just shifting it. And people are like, wait a minute, this feels a little different. Or, they're like, oh, you must have did something. Or, they tune in a little bit, even if they don't quite know what it is. Or even in the beginning of the day, like before, you're open and you blast your Metallica and you're like getting it going and the staff is like pumped, and then you switch it obviously for when your clients come in, but then everyone's kind of in this space.
I like that. Oh, very cool. What about smells? Do you do a lot with smells?
Yeah, so smells are really tricky because you don't want synthetic smells or certain candles burning if they're going to be releasing chemicals into the space. So if you can get what is it called? Essential oils, where they're pure from the plant itself, and you can put it in a diffuser.
So not the Glade plugins, but
not the Glade plugins. Yeah, you do not want to do that. And you want to have like all natural cotton wicks and beeswax, and but it's tricky because especially if you're in a space where the public comes in, because everyone has an association with the smell, or they might be really sensitive. So it's a tricky space to navigate, but smell is one of those things that we don't necessarily give it the credit it deserves, because it can totally transport you into a whole nother time in your life. It can transport you into a different state of mind. There's just so much that goes on with smell. So if there's a way that you can navigate that in your business, I definitely would encourage it.
Nice. Do you look at smells too, down to what you're using for cleaning supplies? Like, is there a better?
Yeah, so like with cleaning supplies, you just got to try to get all natural as much as you can. I know sometimes it's hard not to get the chemical stuff in there, but yeah, even the smells with the cleaning supplies are going to have an influence in what you're doing.
Oh. Is that something you want from a business perspective? Is that something I want to keep consistent because like the smell will relate back to me, or do I want to change that up, kind of like I change up decors too?
No, I would probably keep that consistent, so it has an intention. It's like when you smell that, you know that this space is clean and whatever it is. Unless you want to change it up during the different seasons, and kind of up to you.
That's what I need somebody like, It's cold, I put a sweatshirt on. It's hot, I take it off, right?
Yeah, it's like, okay, consistent. What am I going to be in the mood for? Or what do I need at the moment? And if you can basically just tap into your own intuition to know that. So if it's time to clean and you got between like pine and lemon, it's like, what are you being called to? Like maybe it's the middle of summer and you are feeling called to pine for whatever reason, and go for it.
Yep. Interesting. And then so at homes we do once a week, once a month, once a quarter, whatever. You do like a big deep cleaning, and you pull all the stuff out of your closet that you bought and that you never wore, but now you're giving to Goodwill. How often do you see businesses needing to do that? And is there like an energy deep cleaning that's?
Yeah, so I would definitely once a quarter, twice a year at least. What I really like is monthly sort of check-ins or clear-outs. Okay. I follow the moon personally, so like new moon for me is like new beginnings start. So like maybe just before that moon is new, the moon is waning, so that means the moon's getting smaller, and you're just tapping into like our surroundings or nature that's around us, that's giving us cues, right? Same thing with like the seasons. So we're in spring, so you always think of spring cleaning. So it's like clearing all that gunk out from the winter when you were holding everything in, and now it's time to let there be space so that like nature, the trees can bloom, the leaves can grow, like you're making room for new. So if you're totally packed, like if your closets and the back storage and the warehouse and all that stuff is stuffed with crap, like how are you gonna like bring in new inventory or new ideas or new things? Like you're too full, like there's no room for anything new. So anytime you feel stale or stuck, I definitely would check out what's behind the cabinets, what's behind the doors, like what are we holding on to? Like maybe there's old paperwork that just needs to get scanned or put away or filed or whatever it is, so that new stuff can come in.
Yep. Makes sense. I'm picturing right now all the pen cups in the office, and I don't think we can fit
yeah,
any more new
all that stuff.
pens in the pen cup.
Yeah. Yeah, oh, I love getting rid of pens. And I'm very picky about my pens. I have like one particular pen that I really love, and it's like that's the only pen I use. So, and it's hard because people want to give you pens, and you go to all these conferences, and they give you all this swag and all this stuff, and it's like, what the hell do I do with all this?
Oh,
I hate it too. So I'll keep a notebook.
Okay.
That's probably the only swag I'll take, and then I get rid of all the other stuff.
Everything else?
Yeah, because I use a notebook. So,
Yeah. Yeah. What's your take on sticky notes?
I do like sticky notes.
Oh, I hate sticky notes.
You hate them? Depends. Like, I'll use them for organizing or to tag things or to highlight something. Yeah. Well, you just don't like it around the office?
No, it turns into like sticky note wallpaper.
Oh.
There's just sticky notes and so.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty cluttery.
Yeah.
No, I like it when if I'm like in my binder and I've got a thing and
So you can put it in there?
I put it in there.
Okay.
Or it's like a note or like a little tab.
Got it.
But then, yeah, after a while, you got all that crap. It's just like, get rid of it.
Get rid of it all, yeah. So I've got a pad of sticky notes that just have lines on it.
Okay.
So I can use that as like my daily or weekly to-do
Got it.
list.
Yeah.
But yeah, the regular square sticky notes drive me nuts. You look up, there's all different colors, and you have no idea where and how old is this, and yeah. I've got a thing against sticky notes. They'll never be a sponsor of the podcast.
Nice.
Not that they're reaching out asking to, but yeah.
That's hilarious.
So, very cool. So you're a big handwriter.
Oh, I love handwriting. Yeah, so your hand is connected directly to your heart, which is your heart chakra, which is your emotional space. So if you can do something with your hand, it just kind of is so connected, especially when you're like journaling. Like it's direct line of energy.
Okay. I never thought of it like that. I know when you brought your computer over and we've done all the CAD stuff, which is really cool, but you're still always
I love writing.
Taking notes.
Yeah.
Do you ever take somebody who's not a big noter, right? They do everything electronically on their phone and like make them.
Yeah, so if I have them make a letter, so a lot of times I'll have people write a letter to the home if they're just moving in, or if they're going to be selling the home, or they have an idea of some sort of transition. I have them handwrite the letter to the home so that it has a more of a personal touch. There's a connection there, and also when you're physically writing it, you're remembering. That's something when you take notes in school or whatever, if you can write it out, there's some sort of a connection between your brain and your physical space of writing that out, and you remember, I wrote that. Or I'll, like when I take notes too, I might create a little picture, and remembering that picture will help me remember whatever the thing was for the test in the school, whatever.
Yeah, that makes sense. From a neurological standpoint, there's the proprioception feedback, right?
Yeah.
So when you're typing on a computer, that's an A, that's a B, that's a C. Yeah. It's the same motion where you've got a whole bunch of muscles sharing that. So, but I never connected it back to the heart. So I like to talk about the five senses being used.
Yeah.
Because if you're like me, you end up chewing on your pen too. So you involve taste in there somewhere.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. No, that's neat. Do you find, and I know that you coach other professionals, and do you find that sometimes, professionals, we all get stuck.
Right.
But how do you help them get past that? Like, I don't like the term burnout, but like, I'm stuck. I don't know what to do next.
Yeah.
How do you help
I think of it as
that?
just shifting the perspective, because we're so stuck in our head, and we're like, we got blinders on, and we're just like looking at the problem in this one way. So even just them airing it out or expressing what it is, I'm like, well, have you thought about like just turning the table that way? And they're like, oh, like light bulb, because they aren't seeing it. It's the same thing when we don't see our crap. It's like you're looking at it from another way. So they can even do this with like their own peers. It's just about, talking to people in the office. It's like, don't sit in your crap. Like, ask somebody that's done it before. Ask somebody else and let them like get you out of that in like 2 minutes instead of waiting 2 hours. It just wastes so much time. And so it's looking at it from a different perspective. And I feel like that helps. And also getting out of your space. Our spaces hold that. So if you need a new perspective on something else, like go to an inspiring coffee shop, get out of your city, go to a different hotel, go to a different lobby, like just get out. It's like when you go to another city, you're like, holy crap, like whole nother perspective. You come back and you're like refreshed, and like I had no idea, like I want to do that, I want to bring that in. Yep. So it's just moving physically out of a certain space too that can shift that.
I like that. I like that idea of just turning the table.
Yeah.
Just
I'm like, well, why don't we just do it
simple.
this way?
We just turn it. Yeah. Wow. That's kind of my biggest takeaway from this discussion, right? Just turning the table that little bit, right? And I immediately went to thinking, like in every meeting I'm in, we sit in the same seat, always.
Oh yeah.
So my view is always the same, and so what if I just sat in a different seat?
Yeah.
Right.
You know what's funny is I was at an office. I'm helping a marketing company, and they do website marketing, all that stuff. And I'm redoing their office, and he was telling me, the new clients go back here, and back here is like his back office, like his personal office, and he's got this gorgeous like fishbowl conference room. And I'm like, why don't you bring people in here? He's like, they feel more comfortable over there, and that's where we intake our clients. And I was like, no. Like when you date somebody, you're not bringing them in, or even a visitor comes to your house, you're entertaining them in this beautiful living room that you've created. You're not taking them to your bedroom to sit on the bed and talk. You know what I mean? It's like you're not entertaining them in there. I'm like, that's like taking them into your bedroom. You got like all this crap on the wall. It's a little chaotic in there. It's your personal space. You've got them facing a wall. Their back is to the door. And like, that's just uncomfortable. They're feeling a little bit trapped, and like you don't want to be salesy, but it kind of feels like, oh God, I better sign this contract, or I better do this because I don't feel good. Like bring them in this space, like entertain them, woo them, romance them, like let them know that they're important enough to have this conference room, that you want to serve them, and let them sit here so that they can see out. Like there's just so many things, but we'll see if they end up doing it. But it was just my initial thing. I'm like, why are you taking them in there? Like, I just trying to understand, like, what was the thought process? And they had a good reason for it, but
sometimes our reasons are our reasons for us.
Yeah. I'm like, well, let me just share from an outside perspective.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I had a call yesterday. So we teach in optometry, and what I do at Vision Source, we teach a lot of just business courses, a lot of basics. And so I always get feedback, what did you think of the course? What was good?
Thanks.
What did you not get? Right? Because I always want to do better.
Yeah.
And two young ladies out of North Carolina, one of them looked at me, she said, we had this conference in New York, and it was great all day. And she says, I didn't realize that, like, I'm buying frames she's the one who bought the frames for the office.
Yeah.
I'm buying frames for other people and not for me, and what I want really doesn't matter. And I looked at her and I'm like, that's what you took away? She goes, you don't understand. Like, I'd been buying everything for me, and not everyone is a 30-year-old mom, right, in North Carolina. Like I didn't realize that. And it was, so sometimes like our perspective, as you said, is very different. She's doing her best, right? And she did everything that she thought she was supposed to be doing.
Right, of course.
Just taking her out of that environment, putting her in a course. I don't think it's a novel idea, but she heard it.
Yeah, there's something really special about being in person and going to a thing. I mean, you might be like, oh, I can just do this on Zoom. Why are we doing this like in-person conference? It's like, no, you gotta like get out, experience these spaces, these people, connecting on a different level.
Yeah, I'm seeing lots of just stress and I think people crying for help, not realizing they are, because they're living in a virtual world.
For sure.
Whether it's, in our world, it's online, continuing education, it's Sunday morning, turn on your computer and just sit and watch in your pajamas, which I don't feel good in my pajamas. Sleeping in them is good, but not working,
in
right?
Them, it says I feel good.
And but you miss all the personal cues,
in
the relationships.
Yeah, and I'm seeing it more like in my business, like brands. Recently, there was a faucet brand that's they flew out designers from California to Chicago to basically show their new showroom, their new line, and then they, wined and dine us and all that. But you could have looked at it and said, well, you could have just showed me like this new line, like on a virtual call or even just in an email. But they wanted you to connect with them emotionally, feel the brand, be immersed in it. And I'm sure that happens to you too with all your lines that you carry. And it's really important. And then also knowing that you're doing that for your clients as well. Like, you're bringing them into an experience, you're immersing them in with your brand. They're aligning with your principles and your values and who you are, and you know what they put on their face and how they express themselves. Like, you're carrying the lines that they're associating with and being specific. You're not, you know, Costco or whatever, having like a million different, like, we know that when we go to you, it's curated and it's associated and it's connected with who you are.
Well, it's a different experience. And it was really neat, and I probably should do a much better job of sharing this, as I've had the opportunity to go to see where designs get made in the process of like how glasses come together, which is crazy, because the designers will draw out 10 different designs. Only one of those will end up making it to pre-production and prototype make, and out of those, maybe 1 in 5 will actually make it to the end. But seeing all the different people carrying along the process, or even contact lenses, I've gone down to the manufacturing plants down in Costa Rica, and seeing the people that go every day to work, right? And it's a box for us, and you open it, you put the contact in your eye, and you don't know throw it away, right? But seeing the person behind it and how proud they are of the efficiencies that they build into their manufacturing systems, and and they're actually really big on sustainability down at the Cooper Vision plant. So seeing how they look at all that, like, it's not just a little piece of plastic you're putting in your eye to see anymore. Now it's a part of a bigger process that I just get to enjoy the end of it, which is kind of neat.
No, it's amazing. There's a whole story behind it, and when you can connect with, a brand or a line, again, like, I was just in Spain, and they, took us to the factory, and just seeing like the sustainability piece and how they treat their employees and connecting with them, and like, that's the only brand of quartz that I'm gonna, sell. It's like, I'm connected. I'm invested.
Yep. Well, and I think it makes a difference. I'll be honest. And it's recorded now, so you can hold this against me forever. But when we first did the design, I'm like, why on earth are we getting, does it really matter? We can just go to Home Depot and grab all this stuff. Yeah. And I probably voiced that, and you probably talked to Lindsay, and you're like, just ignore Aaron. Right? We're just gonna ignore Aaron. And I'm glad you guys did, because and it's less. I think it's less a better quality issue. It's certainly better quality, but I think it's less of that and more just how the different pieces came together. Because I'm big on function. I don't care as much how it
really important for
looks.
Sure. Yeah.
Functionalities for me, but just that things work, and that they flow, and that the handles seem to be always in the right spot, made a huge difference.
Good.
So it's I'm kind of reminiscing as we went back on all these projects, and just little things that at the time kind of annoyed me.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
You're like, why are we doing this?
I can remember a distinct showroom where we had to go look at stuff, and it was the last place in the world I wanted to be. But everything that we worked through, and it, ended up being a whole lot better in that process. I think brought the right energy into the space, brought the right functionality and usefulness. Okay. So, and we get to go have a glass of wine after that. So that part was fun.
That was good.
So awesome. So as we wrap up, Rachel, what? So those are listening who are like, hey, my office needs space clearing, like 911 right now. What can they, if they're listening to this on the way to the office or on the way home, and they're going to go back tomorrow, like, what are the first steps they should do to just bring new energy and get that elbow?
So if you're on your way to the office right now and you just want to shift up the energy, open up the windows, open up the doors, just let fresh air come in, maybe tweak a couple things, move things around, and then I would just sit and listen to the space and see if there's any first thoughts that come to mind that the space wants. A lot of times, the space is I would love to have fresh flowers, and I see you bring in fresh flowers all the time. So it's bringing in those fresh flowers, or maybe there's just a little thing. It's just opening the doors and then setting intention for the day of whatever it is that you're bringing into the space or how you want people to feel. It's just setting intention, and that's all stuff that you can do pretty much for free besides buying flowers. But it's just setting intention, opening the windows, letting some fresh air come in.
Oh, I like that. So, and then just going with what your instincts kind of say.
And just tapping in and being like, okay, what do I need? Or what does this space need? Or what do I need to support myself at this point? And just listening and just taking a minute. And it's always that first thought or that first thing that comes to mind. Don't second guess it.
So, I like that. Cool. Well, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Awesome. And so for everybody listening, I'll put your contact info in the notes so they can.
Yeah, you can reach out on Instagram. You can put my number on there. They can text me, email me. Like
Oh, you're brave.
I'm very available.
Awesome. Well, appreciate the time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.